Welcome back to the Gruber Morning Show. This is the Tesla Roadster podcast, and we have a very special guest joining us today. I'd like to welcome Justin, also known as the Bearded Tesla, who's going to be joining us for the discussion, and then, of course, my co-host.
Good morning, everybody. Glad to have you on, Justin, as well.
Yeah, very happy to be here.
And Justin was actually at the San Luis Obispo Takeover, as was my son Maximilian, but we haven't debriefed him yet. He just got back. You know, it was a long drive. He drove up there. It was like 10, 12 hours or something with charging and all that. So he's still dead tired, but... So the normal topics we cover here are Tesla Roadster related, and probably we can keep to that theme a bit. You were just telling me that there was one Tesla Roadster at the San Luis Obispo event.
Yeah, that's right. There was one, and if I remember right, the details, I don't remember all of it. I think it was a special find. That particular Roadster was.
It was one of our Chinese Roadsters.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had three of them that we orchestrated bringing into the United States.
Yep.
They went to Dubai for a brief while because they had a customer there that they thought was going to buy them. But it was about a 7-month-long project of, cleaning them up, bringing them here, doing the technical portions, the testing, confirming mileage, all of that, and then the bidding process. With us, bidding isn't a 7-day moratorium and then, it's over with. We let those run, I think, a couple, 3 months or something like that. Mm-hmm. And they actually got up to $2 million at one point. There was a Canadian leasing company that was going to put them into lease, and I'm kind of glad they didn't buy them, although the seller would love to have had the $2 million, right?
Oh, yes, he would have.
But as it turned out, they could not put cars older than 10 years into a lease program and get insurance. So that kind of killed the deal. So then it fell back to the next, highest bidders. And eventually they ended up going up to Oregon, and now they're at Medlock Shop to be restored. It's one of his customers.
Very cool. Actually, last time I was here to see, missed those roads.
You did?
They shipped out. You told me that they had shipped out the day before I got.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It was a fascinating story. Cars that were actually sealed in 40-foot sea containers for 13 years, and they forgot about them.
Yeah.
And they opened them up one day and said, "What the hell are these? Brightly colored sports cars. Where'd they come from?" And so the seller came to us to the Roadster matchmaking site. Free service, by the way. We have to keep plugging that. Don't need to go to auctions. We'll sell your car for you and do it free of charge. And then you actually help out with escrow and a whole bunch of other stuff.
Oh, yeah. I think we went through our easiest escrow this last week. Everything beginning to end done within 2 days.
Really? Yeah, that was one of the quickest then.
Yeah, it's really pretty simple. One person sends the title, another person sends the funds. Once we know that everything is there and they checks out with the buyer and seller, they go to the opposite parties.
Right. So that particular Roadster was VIN 1120, and it was a very orange. What we also learned from that was the amount of damage that heat can do to the Roadster PPF. And it was alternating. At nights it'd be very cool. This was on a dock in Guangdong, China. And the PPF was cracked and fissured. And did you get a close look at the car while you were there?
Yeah, I did. I thought it looked pretty good, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I thought it looked pretty nice. So I think you guys and the new owner did a little bit of work to clean it up because it did look really nice.
We have some pictures to throw up there, Jesse. If you want to throw up VIN 1120, or actually 11112, you can see it there. Okay, so we'll work on that. So, did you enjoy the event?
The event was amazing as always.
Yeah.
It's if you can only go to one event, that's the event, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the final count was. I'm guessing about 2,000 people.
I heard 1,500, but that seems to be on the low side. Then you were in Austria too.
I was in Austria. Yeah. I was trying to tell the people who you were so they'd let you upstairs at the dinner.
I
was like,
remember.
what is this?
The way that transpired, I did get my wristband, and I could have had the free presenter dinner, right? Because I was one of the guest speakers. But I had my family with me. I had my granddaughter, my son, my wife, and I thought, I can get a dinner anywhere. But then later on, we went upstairs and we, rubbed elbows with all of the other people there. But thank you for trying to, get them to give the rest of my family some wristbands.
Yeah, well, for your viewers' benefit, this is no diva here, so you guys took it in stride. You guys had a nice dinner downstairs as a family, so
We did.
yeah.
There's no such thing as a bad dinner in Austria or Bavaria.
Oh my gosh, gorgeous, and the food is so good. It's funny. I have a friend. She actually just got back. You probably know her, but she just got back from France. Her and her family were there for a month, and like me, she kind of, I guess we would call it gluten sensitivity. It's
Yeah.
like I could eat all the bread I want over here.
Oh, wow.
The food is just so good and so fresh over there, right?
Yeah.
And then the views, of course, you can't beat them.
Yeah.
Did you see the Lord of the Rings rivers everywhere up there?
Oh, yeah. What was amazing, we had my 13-year-old granddaughter with us, right? And we thought this would be a real growing experience for her, which it was in many ways. But what astonished me was we would take detours off the Autobahn, go into the Alps and drive, the surface streets, which are just scenic beyond belief, right? And I look back at her once in a while and she's doing this. They're in a different
Yeah.
world. They're in a different reality. We were just mesmerized by the gorgeous sound of music scenery all around us.
Yeah.
One of these days, maybe she'll look up and going on around her in the world.
Yeah,
We ended up hitting 7 different countries while we were there. We,
you did. Where'd you go? What were the countries?
So we started in the UK and then took the train into Paris. So did France for a couple days, and Belgium, Germany, Austria. Went over into the Czech, which was pretty awesome.
Huh?
I think 27 speeding tickets later.
No way. Really? The cameras?
Yeah, the cameras.
they hide
man.
those things,
Oh,
don't they?
Gosh.
Yeah.
I'm not used to those things.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know how
What they
people
do
do
is
it.
when you travel down the freeway, you got your signs that give you, what street to get off on. Just below that, they'll have cameras, and you don't know they're there if you're from another country, right? And so you got 27 of them.
Yeah, it's a mix too. It's like a mix of like these average speed cameras or just straight up speed cameras, and you just see this flash, and you're like, "What was that?" Oh no!
Then you get to Germany, and you've got the Autobahn, and suddenly you feel completely liberated. For a car guy, it's nirvana, because there are no speed limits on certain stretches, and you can open up your car. And the good part too is highly disciplined drivers, strict lane discipline. You don't get this stuff where they're putting on their makeup and drinking coffee or looking at the kids in the back seat in the fast lane, right?
Yeah.
They get out of that fast lane the instant they've done their passing, and it's usually clear, wide open.
It is wild. You're absolutely right. There's no semis blocking the left lane. People, they don't stick in the left lane even when it's a short distance to pass the next person. It's a very nice. People follow the rules over there. That's for
Oh,
sure.
very much so, yeah. Well, that's the German way.
Yeah, that is,
Rule
yeah.
follow us, yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty awesome though.
So when you're ready for pictures, Jess, we'll throw up some of those from the San Luis Obispo event. Got some good ones here. Just to give you a perspective, in the last San Luis Obispo event, one of our customers was there, and actually a friend, Rex Agbolos, and his wife, Wendy. And they had some pictures as well. There were actually 3 Roadsters there, and you were there, right? You
Yep.
saw them.
Yep.
It was VIN 1180, 1298, and 187, a 1.5 Roadster. Electric blue, radiant red, I think. Trying to think of the other one, very orange maybe. But when we get pictures up, we can, yeah, there we go. Thunder gray, there we go. Electric blue, and then, yeah, the radiant red. I'm surprised. Only 1 Roadster this
I
time.
know. I was shocked. There's usually, every year it seems like there's a good roadster crew.
Mhm.
Not this year.
Well, do you remember Austria? We
The
had,
red one.
yeah, we had the Fusion Red
Yeah.
from Italy.
Yeah.
It was Luca Del Boa, the president of the Italian, Tesla Club, and then there was an Austrian owner there as well with another Fusion Red. And Luca actually said, "You probably never driven a Tesla Roadster in Europe, have you?" I said, "No." He said, "Here are the keys. Take my car. Let's go out and go around Austria." And it was a wonderful experience.
That is pretty.
Okay, which one do you want?
All right, let's go 112 first, and we can see the Chinese Roadster, VIN 1120. Um,
VIN 112 or 1120?
VIN
112, yeah. Then we'll go to VIN 1120, which shows that same Roadster in our service center getting processed. There we go.
Yeah, that,
Here we got a setup issue that's keying out. Give me a second.
Looks like it's a transparent image. If it
It's
is, you
probably because of the green in the image from the grass.
Oh,
And so it makes the Roadster look like it's flying.
right.
oh, that car in the background is not actually behind it.
No,
What is happening?
don't know. Let's go to 1120. I don't think there's any green in that. So VIN 1120, and there you'll see it in our service center. You know, when these cars came in, they smelled bad. There were, as we would take one of the cars, the fourth car was actually just parts wrapped up with bubble wrap. As we unwrapped, we had a staging area table. As we unwrapped, insects would scurry out. And we had one guy there with an air hose that was blowing them outside because we didn't want these critters getting into our cars in the service center.
Yes.
But every single thing we unwrapped had some sort of vermin in it, you know? And they were very surprised, of course, suddenly being in a completely different country, you know? But we don't know what they were eating inside the bubble wrap. Inside the car, it was obvious, soy type, insulation. Then they were making nests, and they'll take anything, you know, rubber hoses even, to build their nests. Got another image here. If you bring up VIN 1120 PPF damage, and you can see what 13 years of thermal cycling will do to PPF. What we ended up doing was when the cars first were, they were sealed when they came to us as well, so we had to grind off the locks. And we would open them up, and you would see flaking like cellophane all over the tops of the Roadsters. And that was the final layer of PPF that had delaminated and was loose. So what we did was we gently pressure washed all that cellophane off the cars to then expose this fissured, cracked, and oftentimes adhesive bonded with a clear coat, which is not going to come off with steam or anything else like that. But this is the front clip on that VIN 1120. And if it looked really good at San Luis Obispo, it's possible that they've already started a restoration project on it.
Yeah, it looked really.
The interior shot is VIN 1120-smell. What you'll see there is an immaculate interior other than the smell and some of the rodent residue. The seats were still wrapped in plastic. And what we have in that little yellow box there is an ozone generator that was working on getting rid of all the odors.
Now, if I remember right, that was one where the ozone box wasn't working like you expected, and that's when you started to dig in and found the rat nests.
Yes, yeah, and where they were building the nests typically were in the running boards, which is the door sill, just below the door sill there. There's a channel there that runs the whole length of the car. The other place that rodents love to nest is right underneath the dash. We've got pictures that we've presented many times, which it's complete nests, literally. So that's the story on VIN 1120. Unfortunately, there weren't more Roadsters there. So tell us about the event. I understand that Franz did not physically show up.
Yeah, unfortunately, he wasn't physically. That was a change, last minute kind of thing. But we did get a secondary surprise, which was, of course, Elon Musk also joined.
Mhm.
I think Elon was only supposed to be there for like 10 minutes virtually, and he ended up talking for like an hour.
Excellent.
Which is typical, right,
Yeah.
of Elon. He's very gracious with his time, especially when it's the Tesla topic that
He had a
he's
lot
very
to say.
passionate about. Yeah. It was pretty awesome. No shame. I was prepared to bring a piece of my Cybertruck up behind stage and hopefully get Franz really quick to sign it, but
Uh-huh.
unfortunately that dream didn't happen, of course. But
You know, Max ambushed him at the Peterson Auto Museum, brought a little second generation Tesla Roadster, and he did autograph that for us. So
he's
got that
the
upstairs.
coolest dude ever.
Oh, he is, yeah.
He's just like a down to earth, just chill guy. And Yeah, he's what you hope you would be if you were that level of success, right?
Yeah. Oh. So what else did Elon say that was noteworthy or that you could share with us?
Well, for us Cybertruck owners, apparently we are getting full self-driving this month. So I am very much looking forward to that after tens of thousands of miles at this point. And we got Roadster updates, which is exciting. We've actually had these little breadcrumbs over the last 6 months on Roadster. So if you've been paying attention, which of course you guys have,
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's there's all these little breadcrumbs, and these last ones you're starting to think, how is this gonna work?
Flying is what we're hearing.
Yeah.
Not just thrusters, but maybe vertical thrusters as well. Or SpaceX doing
Yeah.
that all the time, right?
How does this work? How do you make a car fly? I think we're going to be shocked when we see what these enhancements are. And there's no doubt in my mind there's going to be a promo video in the background of a Roadster literally off the ground for a period of time.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. Yeah, that and Robotaxi, of course, which I think is probably farther along than most people realize.
Yeah.
It's just pretty cool. I'm excited for that. And then, yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of really cool, like next level stuff on the horizon.
We were theorizing earlier, this new second generation Roadster, if it truly is a VTOL or has any sort of aerial capability, it's going to have full self-driving with the distracted drivers we have now, or we're going to end up with some more 9/11 events.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to have a collision, on the ground.
Yeah.
Completely different up in the air.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still not clear on what exactly the stretch of the word flying means.
Yeah.
So we're going to find out, though. And it's going to be fun because I don't think any of us are going to be ready for it.
Well, these EV guys are rewriting the basic
Heck yeah,
rules
they
of
are.
transportation. I mean, do
Oh,
you remember?
yeah.
We never really considered, except for that one odd car that could actually be land and water, right? It was this little ugly red thing with a propeller sticking
Oh
out
yeah,
the back.
little MG it was.
Yeah,
I remember
something like
one of
that.
my friends in high school owned one of those.
Really?
It was you.
No, it wasn't
Don't
me,
lie.
unfortunately.
But yeah, they're really stretching our notion of what transportation can evolve into.
Heck yeah, they are.
Cool as heck,
Yeah, that's why like this whole Tesla adventure is so exciting because they're taking the status quo and bringing things that not only couldn't be dreamed of, but even if they could, it's one boardroom away from no, that's impossible. Next.
Yeah,
Right?
right. So I'm curious. You're very much involved in alternative energy, sustainable energy. What motivates you? What got you into this?
Yeah. A lifetime of automotive excitement. And I was that kid with the 96 GTS Viper on my wall, blue with white stripes, of course.
Of course.
I can't remember exactly how old I was, but I was probably somewhere between 11 and 13. And my dad took me up to the Viper plant, and no pictures anywhere. We get to the end of the line, and these two line workers, come here. So they put me in the seat, and when you're a kid, you're like, this is
man.
unbelievable. This is quite honestly like a pivotal moment in my life that I'll never forget. And I worked in the dealership for my whole life until I halfway through college. It's in my blood. It's my dad, my uncles, my grandpa, everybody. And I'm just the odd duck because I like the tech of electric cars. I remember the day I got a Prius. I think that was about this close to getting signed as disowned at that point. But we had some fun with that thing. And electric cars and Teslas, of course, just that next step. And it's just been... It's no different than the rest of my family. It just happens to be electric.
Our first Prius, it was a paradigm shift.
Yeah.
You just never considered the fact that you could, propel a car with an electric motor until I got that Prius. Now, it was dismal. It was like 30 miles limit. It would go maybe a half a mile or something like that on the electric motor.
Mm-hmm.
But still, just the notion of that was liberating.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until the battery was starting to go end of life and we didn't want to do that $6,000 replacement that I said, you know what? I wonder if a BEV would be available that would do this.
Yeah.
And that's when I found the Tesla Roadster.
Yeah.
And what I found was on eBay, VIN number 8, I think it was, George Clooney's car,
Right.
and ready to fly out there to, buy it. And had a friend in town here that had a 2011 Roadster. And I thought, well, let me ask him how he likes it. He said, I love it, but the airbag doesn't turn off in the passenger compartment. And I got 2 little girls, and for safety reasons, we're going to be selling it. So we struck a deal. I ended up with a lightning green 2011 in town here rather than George Clooney's car.
How do you even buy a car from George Clooney?
It was through a publicist, and she told me, she says, I can't tell you who owns the car, but you would instantly recognize that name, right?
Yeah.
And so I would have bought it through, his caretakers or personal assistants or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure George wasn't going to be part of the transaction,
was no-
Right.
although that would be fun,
That would be fun.
collecting it from him.
No handshake deal with George Clooney.
But what's ironic was the card that I did end up with was previously celebrity owned by a famous golfer.
Is it Bubba Watson?
Bubba Watson, there you go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's these Roadsters just have the coolest stories, right?
All the
I
time.
mean, these weren't just EV enthusiasts that bought this. These are people who just believed in the vision, right?
They were courageous early adopters. They were people that had disposable income. How many people were going to, first of all, put $100K plus into a car from a company on the verge of bankruptcy?
Yeah.
Right.
And then, of course, what's happening now is we're seeing this large Roadster sell-off that's going on. And it's because a lot of the owners are reaching an age now where they can't do the Roadster wiggle anymore to get in and out of the car.
Yeah, you were gracious enough to throw me the keys and say have a good time. The first time I drove a Roadster, it was awesome. Getting in and out of it at my age wasn't so comfortable, but
Yeah.
I can imagine, man. It reminds me of when we got our Model Y doing these road trips, and you'd see an older couple getting in and out of a Model 3, like, definitely much later in the age scale. It just looked so uncomfortable. Even the Model 3 now, the Roadster takes that to a whole nother level. There's probably a height limit on those things too, I would imagine.
Oh, there is, yeah. I mean, if you're 6'3", you're going to have a difficult time. One of our customers
Mm-hmm.
actually had his floorboard lowered, kind of like, Magnum PI.
Right.
They had to modify that 308 Ferrari in order to have him fit in that car.
Yeah.
But so you're driving a Cybertruck now. Tell us about that experience.
It's a beautiful experience. I do want to preface by saying it's very expensive. Minus that one thing, everybody needs a chance to drive this thing. And it doesn't matter if you like it, you hate it. If you drive this, it's going to be really hard not to appreciate the amazing things it's doing. Steer-by-wire is next level. The acceleration of a truck that's heavier than a dually is unbelievable. I mean, it does things that trucks aren't supposed to be able to do. I've had a couple of trucks that I loved very much, diesel, by the way, and yeah, the way it tows, the way it drives. I had a trailer when I was towing my Cybertruck with the Cybertruck, literally in the back of a hotel parking lot where you got parking spots on both sides. I'm up against the curve, and I did a 180 with the trailer. Like that shouldn't be possible. But even when you're going down the highway, you get this crosswind, and that rear, I'm telling you, there's something magic happening with the rear steer while you're on the highway that counters the the crosswind and keeps this thing
really?
straight as a arrow. It's unbelievable. So it's funny. I tell people, if you've towed before, you have truck experience, you'll appreciate the full effect of Cybertruck. If you haven't, you're going to appreciate the Cybertruck, but you won't understand to the extent of the amazing things that it's doing, which is equally fine. But man, if you've towed or done a lot of truck stuff, right?
Right.
You're going to be blown away.
Awesome. I got to preface something here. We've probably got people chiming in here, but we were in our last podcast, which was the EV podcast, and one of the people that was, chiming in, here to Tesla, I bet you guys would be surprised if I just happened to show up during your podcast. Wouldn't be
We're
any
like,
more
"Come on
surprised
over."
if I found my head sewn to the floor, right?
All right, Clark Griswold right there. I love
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
You know, we've got one of our engineers that took a Tesla Model S, chopped it, and then built a camper on it.
That's so cool.
Exquisitely made with plywood and curved surfaces. And he's been working on his steering. You mentioned drive-by-wire. Sunday, I was in the shop, and he was over there grinding away. He's got a drive coupling now from the steering wheel down to the to the drive unit, and he's probably got about 20 U-joints in that thing.
Yeah.
So when you say drive-by-wire, that would be the solution. But I looked at it and I said, Marcus, I said, is this thing safe? This is a vital piece of the vehicle. That many failure points. But he's a great welder. He's a great engineer. Going to be able to pull it off. But
Still, that many U-joints, that's...
yeah,
Oh, man.
It's going to be a crazy day when we say, wait, that steering wheel is connected. Is that safe?
Yeah.
Right? Because right now we're saying it's not connected. Is that safe? People are scared. It's amazing.
yeah. These new technologies are convincing us there's a better way to do things.
For sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, brake-by-wire is next, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be wild.
So let's see, we got a few questions here. Instagram, Thomas080 says, hi, thanks for joining us. Instagram, Quantum Paradox 780. When do you think we will hit level 5 autonomy, which is full self-driving?
What do you think?
That's a good question. I'm notorious for being critical of full self-driving until V12 hit, and it's changed my mind.
Really?
I literally was like, there's so much work to be done. Like, this is just a mess, right? V12 hit, and I'm like, okay, I can see how this is going to work. This is amazing. And I think that although Elon sometimes does get a little probably optimistic on his timelines, I can see unsupervised FSD by the end of this year for, legacy
Wow.
cars on the road.
Well, we're going to need that with the robo-taxi.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're all well. They're probably already doing it. Speculation with robotaxi, right? So, I mean, proof of concept is there.
You think about it, long distance trucking. I mean, we're not talking about giant semis going down residential neighborhoods with stop signs and sharp turns and things like that. These guys are on the highways.
Yep.
Pretty safe for them to be unsupervised, or at least for part of the trip.
Yeah.
Think of the labor savings that's involved with that. And in my estimation, I think that AI and machines are much better drivers than we'll ever be.
Oh, for sure.
At what point do they take one of the interstate highways and turn it into an autonomous driving only?
That's the future I think is coming, where they're gonna, at some point, it's gonna be so statistically unsafe to drive yourself.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna say, like, I'm sorry, but you need a special license to operate a vehicle on your own. Hopefully not until my very late days, but I do see that on the future, 100%.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, and it'll start with highways that are dedicated only for autonomous driving.
So they'll take our keys away before we reach 92.
And then it won't have to be, family doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
Government, much better choice, right? All right, let's see. YouTube, Sumt Gali 123, Summit Gali says hi, thanks. YouTube Highlander, there's Highlander. He says, I love the Cybertruck. He's one of our regulars. He's always there.
Yes.
Very EV savvy, too. And Color J from YouTube, reserved a tour. See you Friday morning. Oh, excellent. We were just talking about, we give tours at least once a day, and
Yeah.
we'll give you one before you leave today. And
Yeah, the tour is definitely worth it. You'll enjoy yourself. Lots of cool stuff back there.
So you know who's coming Friday? The world traveler, Rafael de Mestre, who went around the world twice now in a Tesla Roadster. He's doing the same thing now in a Model Y. And he's going to be here Friday at 2 p.m.
And he has a Chechen family coming with him, or?
Right, a Chechen. And I don't have all the details yet, but apparently that's part of this new venture, is to get a family to go around the world. Break another world record, most likely.
Probably will. That'll be pretty.
Well,
I'm looking forward to seeing him again.
unashamed self-plug here. I can't provide all the details, but I'm very excited to share some unclear details with you today. August 26th, I'll post the actual, that's when we start. Getting ready to do the biggest, craziest, most dangerous thing I've ever done in my entire life. And I'm doing it with a friend, Raphael, and his wife, and Greg Mark. And we're going to be doing something extremely epic with our Cybertrucks. And I hope that you guys will tune in and enjoy the journey, so to speak.
Awesome. It sounds
August
like
26th. That's
yeah,
4 weeks from
yeah.
today.
I'm aware. It's crunch time. My wife keeps reminding me, get home.
it sounds like an Evel Knievel promotion, does it not?
Yeah, we're not going to be jumping anything, but it is going to, that I've dedicated my channel to, helping people make that transition as a family man, right? Like, how do you fit a stroller in this? Does it fit? Which car seats are going to work, right? And this is just taking that to the next level. We continue to hear, I don't know how today, we still hear EVs can't do everything, and they can. And I'm going to show you that they can without dedicated charging.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
I'm looking forward to that. We'll have to watch on the.
So while we're plugging, your channel is
Bearded Tesla Guy.
Bearded Tesla Guy. Okay, there you go. And looks like Highlander says, sorry, I missed you in Muskegon. Were you there?
Yeah, we were there.
Okay.
Yeah, we just, I don't know how, but we must have just missed each other. By the way, Tesla had a Performance Model 3 out there, and it was amazing. John and I were like the first two to get a test drive in it. Yeah. They'll probably be really mad at me, but we opened that thing up. We put it in track mode. We were going sideways. I talked to people later. I'm like, did you get to drive? They're like, yeah, it was amazing. I'm like, did you put it in track mode? They're like, no, they had it locked on chill. I was like, oh, I think they found out. Maybe they smelt the rubber when we got back.
The tires. Yeah. Yeah, I was on a
Sorry.
track day one time with Dodge, and they used to change tires after every track event.
How do you not, though, right? You get in a car like that.
Yeah.
How do you, it's a beautiful car.
Very cool. So a couple of Tesla Roadster topics here. On the Tesla Roadster Facebook site, Tesla Roadster Owners Group, we post the newest Tesla service centers that have been opening up around the world. And it's users and owners that are really feeding us this information. One of the owners in Atlanta, Georgia, said that Alpharetta, Georgia, is doing Roadsters better than Atlanta. I guess there's a different set of lifts or something. Then we've got New Orleans, Louisiana. That's another new one that we added. One of our German friends and customers said that the Mannheim, Germany service center just opened up.
First time?
Well, the service center was there, but they're accepting Roadsters now.
Oh, very
Let me
good.
preface that.
Okay.
And that's over in the Baden-Württemberg area, which is to the west of Germany, around Heidelberg, actually.
They're really good highways.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then finally, Winchester, UK. We had Gatwick on there before, Leeds. And so, people have always been concerned. Well, Tesla doesn't consider the first generation Roadster as, important or viable, and they're going to stop support and all that. Again, we're seeing just the opposite.
Right.
So that's good news. Looks like we got some questions there, Mark.
We sure do. R.C. Robinson's son on YouTube has joined us. At almost 2 years on FSD. Never leave home without it. And he upvoted the channel, so thank you very much. Davil's joining us back on YouTube again. Says, I think that once Tesla gets their big data center going in Texas up to speed, this will be the point that Tesla could level 5.
Have you seen the cooling towers?
I haven't.
I saw them in person. They're bigger than this building. It's huge.
Wow.
It's it looks like a mini nuclear power reactor. Is what it looks like. Just the cooling. It's amazing.
And we
Wow.
reported in the AI podcast last week that apparently Tesla or Elon is buying up the NVIDIA chips, and they're going to target 100,000 of those purchased for this supercomputer. I don't think, does he still call it Dojo?
Yeah.
Does he? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We saw an aerial view of those cooling towers,
Yeah.
which didn't give it justice. So you were physically
Physically
there.
got to see it. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Well, that's what data centers requires, an enormous amount of cooling.
Yes, they do. Empowered.
Yeah. Then on YouTube, Highlander's talking again. He says, when I drove it, it wasn't in track mode. When I drove that Plaid Sunday, it flew like a rocket. So where are you? Remember, you were guiding. You were guiding the traffic, and I thought it was so funny.
I was on Sunday. The Michigan group up there hosted a Plaid day for the second day. So they closed down an entire road in the middle of nowhere, and people got to come out and ride in a Plaid. So we measured out a quarter mile, and I was standing there at the start line, making sure nobody hit each other.
Oh,
We got to send the fastest grandma in the world down the strip, and she just full speed, man, and she didn't let up. It was awesome. I think she's 73.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
Karen, she's amazing.
Yeah. With the Cybertruck, if you were here when Raphael was here, I think you would inspire him to take a Cybertruck around the world. Don't you see him doing that?
Oh, I could totally see him doing
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Now, what are the restrictions, if any? Do they let them into all countries at this point? You may not, not be able to title it, but could this thing actually achieve that goal?
I don't know. I'm sure that there's a way to get an exemption for a temporary drive-through, but I looked at shipping my Cybertruck to Europe for Tesla Takeover. I didn't get very far because it was extremely complicated.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I didn't in hindsight, because some of the roads are just, there's no way,
No, you've got a big, wide vehicle.
Yeah.
I mean, the roads in Europe.
big and wide for Europe, maybe, right?
Yeah.
It's just an average size truck here.
So those roads that we were going through the Alps, getting
Yeah.
off the Autobahn, they were single lane,
Yeah.
but they were perfectly manicured.
Yeah.
They were, visibility, negative camber, in all the right places in the scenery. So what you'd have to do is, if you saw another car, you'd have to find a way to pull over to let both of you get by.
Sure.
But they were so remote that we rarely saw anything like that. There was no other car typically.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. The Cybertruck compared to a lot of the vehicles in Europe would just be
Yeah, for sure. They had the Cybertruck show up on the last day.
Yeah.
It was a celebrity. It was pretty cool.
There were security guards there.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Yeah.
And the reason is the potential risk of
Yeah,
terrorists. I mean, look at
it's-
what they're doing to Giga Berlin.
Yeah. Well, that's why Elon can't show up in person anymore to events.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a security threat. Like it's just too out of control. That's unfortunate, but that's the world we live in, right?
That Cybertruck eventually ended up going to Salzburg,
Yep.
to the service center. We showed up there like a week later, but the truck was already gone at that point.
Yeah.
Tripping it around. But that Salzburg service center is the nicest one I've ever seen, any of the Teslas. And it was a Nissan dealer that actually created this thing. I mean, there was glass everywhere. There was a rotunda. There were 3 stories. There were elevators inside, stainless steel everywhere, marble and, natural stone. And, just exquisite.
Yeah.
They did both sales and service out of that facility.
Yeah. Yeah. They really, man, if there's one thing that Germans know how to do, it's make sure every nut and bolt is
Detail
as
oriented,
detailed as
very much
possible.
so. Got a picture to throw up here, Jesse. If you can throw up Andy's Roadsters -2, that's probably the best one. What we're going to pop up here is Andy Nicol in the UK is a Roadster Collector. There we go. The one that's right by me is actually a Lotus Elise. The rest are Roadsters. He's got 6 of them there.
And this one's a green one. This one right here, I'm assuming.
I think our green screen is doing strange things again there. Jesse, this is kind of cool. It's psychedelic these days. Maybe it's not a bug. Maybe it's something that we should leave in there.
That guy put a wrap on a Roadster?
Yeah.
What?
That is an electric blue, it looks like, that's been keyed out by the green screen software. But anyway, this is Andy's. He has also becoming very knowledgeable on how to work on these. We've been collaborating with him. He's working on batteries nowadays, finding resistive cells. Another image there is the breakout cables, Jesse. in order to work on Roadsters, there's a software package called Puppy Suite, which was written by Greg Renda decades ago. It is a extraordinarily powerful tool that tells you everything about what's going on under the hood in a Roadster. But in order to communicate with the Roadster, you need this pecan adapter, which is on the left right there, and then this breakout cable. And these are the Tesla versions of it. Our manufacturing group actually builds this.
Yeah.
So, and Tesla's way back ordered. They'll probably come to us next and say, hey, can you guys sell us this product as well, right? So our production group built a set of these for Andy, and they were shipped out, I think, last week. So he'll be able to, get into the cars through software.
And as a plug to our manufacturing group, our cable looks so much better.
It does, yes. I didn't want to say that, but yeah. Are you listening, Tesla? Our guys have been doing this for 40 years now.
Yeah.
Yep, so they've gotten very good at making custom cables. Looks like Highlander's got a...
Yeah, an add-on to Highlander's comment while you're pulling up the next picture is, remember little Joan? She's a special needs girl that I got a special gift for. He loved her right on.
Yeah.
And then, of course, as Highlander likes to say, kindness is...
So I wanted to share something from an ex-Tesla guy on LinkedIn. And he posted something that really resonates with what we've been saying, or what I've been saying for some time here. And let me read it to you, and then I'll get into why I found this interesting and significant. He says, although I'm a registered Democrat, because the system makes you pick a party, I am a moderate through and through. I feel that some of the things that the right believes in are really annoying and stupid, and some of the things that the left believes in are really annoying and stupid. I'm right in the middle. A lot of my more liberal friends wonder how anyone could support Tesla now, given all of Elon Musk's controversies and shenanigans. And most recently, I'm going to add something, is leaning toward the far right. Some of these shenanigans have been blown out of proportion by the media. Some, maybe a bunch of them, right? Some reports are outright lies, slander, and yes, some are of legitimate concern. So, how dare I support Musk's Tesla? First off, it's an American-based company making the most American-made cars, employing thousands of proud, hardworking Americans who are making products that are changing the entire world for the better. Secondly, when I started working at Tesla in 2012, there were about 3,000 employees. When I retired from Tesla in 2019, there were around 130,000 employees, all of who worked with a dedication and passion that went far beyond the ordinary. And you consistently hear that about the Tesla culture.
Yeah.
In most companies, if you ask people to work 80 hours a week, they would complain and not do it. At Tesla, that becomes the norm because there's a passion there.
Yeah.
He says, I don't view Tesla as Elon's company. I view Tesla as my company, along with the 100,000 plus other dedicated individuals who worked alongside me over the years to make Tesla one of the most impactful companies in the modern age and one of America's greatest success stories. He finishes, he says, Tesla is not one man. It is one mission to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable transportation and energy. If you agree with that mission, there's no better company to support in the world than Tesla. I think
Profound.
he said it all. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, just this week, I ran into something like this. I'm not going to call names, but somebody who has publicly said, why would I buy a subpar product because of the CEO, speaking of Tesla. But in the same breath this week said, why would you support Disney? Their wokeness is out of control. Like, the products and goods that we consume are more than just a person. And the way he said that was so beautiful. Yeah.
When you've got your favorite restaurant where you love the food, Do you care about the political leanings of the cook or the chef in the
Right.
back? I mean, if they
Right.
if they make great steaks or
Right.
make great wines, who cares, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
It's only when you get a half a dozen restaurants sitting together on the same block that you begin to care about the really unimportant things like the political leanings of who is making the food.
Totally agree. We're all in the middle somewhere, leaning a little left, leaning a little right. It's just the
Yeah.
loud voices are in the fringes.
Yeah.
Highlander says maybe the bearded Tesla guy has never heard of the sunglass commercial. There we go.
There we go.
Uh-oh.
Cass, are you ready?
Can you switch cameras?
We don't have it set up for Cass. So this is our sunglass case.
Okay. It's leather. It's real. It's the
Real
deal.
leather. It's the real deal. I know it's the real deal because we made it in my garage with my family.
Mark, tell us what you normally make with the leather, because that's an interesting story too.
It is an interesting story. About 3 years ago, my son wanted to. His Bible was falling apart. He's a religious Christian guy and wanted to get a leather-bound Bible. After doing research online, he found out that it was going to be $450 in 9 months.
Wow.
And he said, "I'll bet I could do that."
There's a business here, right?
Yeah.
and he did. He made a leather cover for his Bible. He told me about it. I'm like, wow, this could like be something. This is really cool. We fast forward 3 years, and I've got my family running a small business out of my garage. We recently made our 500th sale on Etsy
Wow.
of Bibles, and overall, I think the company is. It's about 80% new and about 20% rebinding. The oldest one that we've restored and rebound is an 1842 Bible. And we go out internationally. We've bought leather from South America, from the tanneries in Italy, from here in the States. And that's what they do, though. We rebind these Bibles and put a full leather cover on these. And then we also did some of these sunglass cases. These cases, this is one that has Pete's signature on it. Gruber Motor Company etched into it. We do the laser etching signature series.
That's so cool.
And
You have a laser in your garage to do that?
I do. I
That's
do.
wild, man.
Have a 150 watt CO2 laser.
That's so awesome.
It's a beast, but
It's not
it's
a
a lot of
toy.
fun.
It's commercial equipment.
yes, that one.
You know, when he first brought a bag of those into our studio here, it smelled like burned steaks for the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, it did. It did because we had all this engraved, and it stinks. It smells like burnt skin or something.
Yeah.
But these cases are as durable as they come, and because the full grain leather, they'll never scratch your glasses.
Yeah.
Now, Mark, could we give that one to Justin?
I'm
for
sure
being our
we
guest?
could.
That's
There you
very
go.
that's
I'm sure
very
we
cool
could.
of you. If you don't know, I also appreciate glasses, if you couldn't tell. So thank you very much. That's very cool. And thank your son for a wonderful idea and following that idea and making something of it. That's really cool.
I'll pass on the word. I'll
Yeah.
pass on the word.
Thank you very much.
Of course.
You know, the whole sunglass image here with us, with the Gruber Productions. What have we been doing this 2 years or something like that, Jesse? I think it's been a while.
Yeah.
There was a good, solid reason that the sunglasses were always involved. And we have never released that because it creates so much intrigue with the audience. So it's become a mysterious thing that eventually we're going to launch a video and it'll probably go viral. Because
probably will.
all of the curiosity that's out there about why sunglasses are involved. But yeah, these days, and thank you for joining us, by the way, with sunglasses.
Yeah,
Even our guests participate with it.
of course. And just so the audience knows, these guys did tell me a little bit more about Area 51 off screen.
Right.
I don't know if that's related or not, but just wanted to
Yes.
let you know.
And the glowing eyes, too. Yeah, that was another
yes,
one.
yes.
Yeah. Wait, how did you laser engrave these? With your eyes?
Well,
Laser
I
eyes?
can't disclose.
Much easier, yeah.
Yes.
So it looks like we're starting to wrap here. Is there anything else you want to share with us about either the San Luis Obispo event or your next adventures?
So I don't know how much time we have, but sure. The slow event, Tesla Takeover, or I guess X Takeover.
Mhm.
It's so funny. So last year I believe you were there last year.
I wasn't. No, actually,
Were you
no,
not?
I only went to Austria. That was my
Okay.
first one.
So last year we were hoping a Cybertruck would show up, right? Like it
Sure.
might happen. I mean, it was even the logo of the event, right? And this year there were a bunch of Cybertrucks, and no two were the same, which is what's so fun about it, right? Everybody's wrapping in a different color or doing something different with it, and these Cybertrucks are like a blank canvas for you to really do what you want. And it was so cool to see some of the things people have come up with, and that I bring that up because it just embodies the spirit of the community, not just the Tesla community, but the EV community, right? We have this new enthusiasm, this new generation of car people that's very different than what the car community in general looks like before, and I know that's hard for some people, but it's so fun. It's refreshing. And to see kids excited about cars again, like when I was a kid, that gets me excited. I
Yeah.
can't tell you how many times I've heard from, coworkers or whatever, yeah, he's 18, he doesn't have his license yet. I'm like, what? It just blows my mind.
Yeah.
But it's been really cool to see that excitement come back. And when you have all these Cybertrucks on display, it gets people, thinking about and excited. And I can't wait for the more affordable versions to come out because, the technical capabilities of the truck aren't going to change. Maybe some of the finishes will be different. Maybe the range will be less. But the things that this truck can do, everybody needs to have access to because it is so amazing. And I think maybe after this is done, maybe we should let you drive it around here.
Be wonderful.
Maybe drive over some curbs and stuff.
The first one I drove was Jay Larson's,
Yeah.
the local doc here, a podiatrist. And he brought his out, what was it, like 5 months ago or so?
Yeah, it was a few months ago.
Yeah. And he had his wrapped in a turquoise color. I forget, there was a very specific name for it.
Yeah.
But my first takeaway on it was this thing felt like a construction vehicle, just with its girth and its
Yeah.
weight and its massive amount of, presence. But yet when you blip the throttle, it takes off like a sports car.
Yep.
That was the first anomaly that I caught. Then we're going down my personal racetrack here, Deer Valley, going east, right? Well, you get to 7th Street, and I want to make a U-turn. I thought, oh, this is going to be a bear, right? I mean, even my Model S won't do that, right? This thing it did a hairpin turn on that U-turn. And I turned the wheel maybe a quarter turn or something like that. It blew me away. It's if you're not used to driving it the first time, it gives you a whole new appreciation for what automotive excellence can evolve into,
Yep.
given a little bit of thought into the design. And that's where, Franz and team come in. These guys are thinking out of the box. My first reaction, by the way, and I probably said this before, but when during the earnings call, they had the curtain, right? And then they raise the curtain and there's a Cybertruck. And I'm thinking, oh, well, he's another one of these, somebody dressed like an Optimus robot, and there's a real car behind that somewhere, right?
Yeah.
That wasn't the case. Franz comes out with the steel balls and throws them at the vehicle and busts it the second time or something. And I hear the F expletive from Elon. I'm thinking, no, this is the real thing. This is not, And then I'm waiting to see how will this thing be received, and it was overwhelming. Now, there's magic at Tesla. You got to admit. How did these guys know that something this odd looking was going to captivate the planet? But they keep knocking it out of the park this way, so that's why I'm a
Somehow.
shareholder.
Yeah, somehow they do it. And that's why I continue to say you don't have to like the truck, but man, you need to experience it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the culture at Tesla. Have you been to Fremont or any of their
Yeah.
factories?
Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
I mean, it's a contagious enthusiasm
It
that you
really
run
is.
into there. It's palpable, and so glad to be part of it.
Totally agree. I think you hit on it earlier too. It's the energy you get from the employees at Tesla. And those people want to be there. Those people are the few that get to say every day, I'm going to work doing something bigger than myself. I used to have a job like that. It was rewarding.
Definitely.
Well, Justin, thank you for joining us, and the audience, thank you for being there. We'll cover some more of these Roadster topics next week. Remember, it's Tuesday at 10 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. We've got the EV podcast, 11 o'clock Roadster, tomorrow I do the AI podcast, and it's basically the social media team and I, where we talk about the new developments in AI, what's new, and there's always something new. We actually have to cull a bunch of stuff because there's new stuff coming out.
Yeah.
And the goal there is, guys, we're going to have to embrace it. It's coming whether we like it or not. And the way to succeed in life is embrace the things you're afraid of and learn how to coexist and adapt.
Real quick,
Yeah.
it's 10 o'clock Pacific time.
10 o'clock Pacific time. Okay,
yep.
yeah.
Until the time changes.
I can't wait till Arizona finally gets their act together and moves their time zones.
No,
in with
no.
the rest
Or
of
the rest of the
That's the
country
rest of the
could
world.
stop
Oh,
doing
you-
this
We're
time.
going to keep our time the same.
That's
Thank you
right.
very much.
I agree with that sentiment.
You know, that's why a lot of Hawaiians move to Arizona, is because Hawaii does not do daylight savings as well.
Oh,
They keep their time the same.
Yeah, no,
okay.
we don't need to
Right.
be doing this anymore.
They're one of the other few other places in this world that have their heads on straight when
Well,
it comes to
the
time.
good thing is it would only take Congress coming together to pass something to end it.
Yeah, yeah.
So hold
You
your
think
breath.
that's possible? Yeah.
No, that's I'm not
It's not
holding my
happening.
breath, man.
So staying with the Roadster schedules, then Thursday we've got the Gruber
Oh, that's
Communication Products. That's
Yeah.
at 2:00. Different team, different host, co-hosts. 3:00. Okay. I'm rarely part of that anymore, so I guess I'm forgetting my times. And then Fridays at 10:00 in the morning, we've got the Gruber Power Services podcast, which I do participate in still to some extent. Again, thank you for joining us, Brian. Justin, thank you for coming out
No,
and
thanks
joining
for-
us and bringing that cool Cybertruck.
Yeah, thanks for letting me crash your
Yeah.
party.
It was a pleasure for us.
Thank you. We'll see you next week.
Take care.
See ya.